Hi, welcome to I Talk Italian. I'm actually here with Mimi, and Mimi is a very profound human. She has actually overcome a brain hemorrhage. And as I understand today, we are talking about mental health awareness and what it's like to go through recovery of a brain injury. Mimi, what would you like to say to someone who has gone through it or anyone who's trying to help someone through a brain injury?
Absolutely. First thing I'm going to say is that you need to give yourself grace. Recovery is not a linear process. It's not like you break your arm and you take the cast off and you say, oh, look, I'm better now. It's a very complex thing, especially with your brain, depending on which area was impacted. It could be a long road for you. And just to really give yourself a beat to understand that. And really, that goes into how you interact with others, giving yourself space and boundaries. If you need, to take a nap, go take a nap. If you need to tell someone, hey, I can't respond to that text message right now, do that. You have full permission to really do all those things that you need. And that's just what that is. That's what that could look like for you. I'll say also to not compare yourself to others in the recovery process. You might have a bad day when someone else is having a great day, and that's just what it is. But the more that you look into finding a community, you're going to find more people that really understand what you're going through, even if they haven't, interacted with that same exact symptom. So it's really great to find a community. It's great to chat with those people about what you're experiencing, to be open and vulnerable. That also really creates awareness for other people as we're going through, this new year. A lot of people are having new neurological symptoms. And so this can really build awareness for those people that are experiencing some of the things that we experience, like brain fog, right? Neurofatigue. So this is really a great platform to just talk about what you're going through and find people like you and just know that you're not alone. That's what I would really say.
Absolutely. So, you did mention a lot of people are experiencing more brain fog. And how did you have radical acceptance for yourself when you were going through that? Because I know I've experienced it and it's hard. Like, you have this old perception of self. How have you been compassionate, or someone who's experiencing it maybe not from a brain injury, but from just what we're experiencing with grief in the world?
Yeah, that can really be all encompassing. And if you're new to it, it can really take you off your game, right? When I was undergoing some recovery for my brain injury, I was also a full-time high school teacher. And that comes with its own fatigue. And I really had to, like you said, radically accept what I was going through and that it was okay for me to take rest. I had to give myself permission to take naps. I had to give myself permission to step back from grading my papers and answering parent emails. I really had to say, this is where you're at right now. It may not be forever. It may look different in the future, but I've really had to tune into my own body, how I'm feeling, and say, okay, it's that time. I'm tired. I'm going to go lie down. And know that there's no shame in that, I think is really part of that radical acceptance.
Thank you so much for speaking to that. And I also wanted to say, like, you've done some pretty amazing things with your life. Like, you managed to write a book as well. And what allowed you, after going through what you did, to share your experience and create that?
Well, the funny thing about that is that I never thought about writing a book, and that it was something a friend suggested to me as I was undergoing the diagnosis. And she basically said, "Hey, you've got a lot of free time. You're at home. Your brain is bleeding. How are you doing? Do you want to write some of those feelings down?" And it was kind of this cathartic process of trying to understand what I was going through as I was going through it. So it's very raw, it's very like, oh, I can't use my left hand. Writing a book is going to take me a long time if I'm just typing with one hand. So it's kind of this way to process what I was going through. And it did take me a long time. It took me a long time to get the full story out, to revise that story, to get it in front of professionals who could help me sort through, you know, what this story was, because I did write most of it in the thick of it. And once that story really came out, I started to realize how much influence and inspiration it was going to provide for other people. I didn't really know that going into it. It wasn't like I sat there and said, this is going to be a great book for survivors, but it ended up becoming a really great story for people to see. This is what somebody goes through, this is what I went through, and it can be relatable and cathartic and also, you know, kind of sensitive. It can be really hard to read that if you've been through it too. So I'm happy I did it. It took a lot of energy, took a lot of time, but I've gotten some really amazing feedback and I've been able to do some really incredible things because of the book.
Thank you so, so much, Mimi. And I just wanted to ask you one last question before we wrap up. If there's something that you wish the audience would hear today, something that's on your heart, what did you want to leave them with? Because we're in a very different world right now. What would you like to leave them with?
That is a great question. I'm going to say lead with kindness because you never know what someone's going through. And, you would look at me and you would have no idea the things that I've been through, my brain injury, what I struggle with on a daily basis still. And just don't make assumptions. Lead with kindness, give people the benefit of the doubt. We are living in exceptionally challenging times. Everyone knows that. We're all dealing with something underneath the surface, and we're trying to show everyone else that we're okay, and we might not be okay. And so just lead with kindness and really just give people some patience and some grace as well.
Thank you so much, Mimi. Where can they find you before we wrap up?
Oh yeah, you can find me all over the place at Mimi Hayes Brain on Instagram, Twitter, social media, TikTok, YouTube. My website is just mimihayes.com. My podcast is Mimi and the Brain. Yeah, I'm all over the place. You'll find me. I have no doubt.
Awesome. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day, everyone. And thank you, Mimi.